While much of the country watched the Bay Area, we watched our local communities fighting their own devastation.
Ma'am, I know about the earthquake. Do you have an emergency?
Yes, the whole house fell down by the coast.
Okay. Centicom, I don't know whether you received report. There's a large column of black smoke.
Doocy Center.
Well, we got some gas coming out of a pipeline.
Gas coming out of the pipeline.
I live right exactly behind that house.
What did you see?
I saw nothing.
On October 17th, 1989, at 5:04 p.m., tragedy struck. An earthquake decimated through the northern and mid parts of California. This earthquake was named the Loma Prieta earthquake. The Loma Prieta earthquake has been named one of the worst earthquakes in the U.S. history, which reached a magnitude of 6.9. The earthquake's epicenter was near Mount Loma Prieta in the San Andreas Fault, roughly 56 miles south of San Francisco and 10 miles northeast of Santa Cruz. The earthquake also started countless mounds of fire with its pure destruction. The earthquake killed 63 people and injured 3,757 more, while also leaving 12,000 people homeless and left on the streets. Hello, Dad. I have some
Good
questions.
evening.
Number one, where were you when the Loma Prieta earthquake happened?
That, if I remember correctly, was October 7th, 1989, and I happened to be at the World Series at Candlestick Park in San Francisco. And I remember it was like 5 o'clock in the evening and just getting ready for the game to start, and all of a sudden the whole stadium started shaking, and I was with a gentleman that had been through an earthquake before. He was from Southern California. He says, "Robert, we're experiencing an earthquake." So, we ran down, and anyway, that's what I do remember is we ran down, kind of waited, and then got out of there. But it was quite an event.
The Loma Prieta earthquake caused roughly $6 billion in damage from destroying houses, buildings, skyscrapers, highways, and much more. But the most notable damage included the collapse of a section of the road bay on the Bay Bridge, which made the Bay Bridge unusable for over a month. The earthquake had the most damage in downtown Santa Cruz and San Francisco's Marina District.
Quite an event.
Number two, what emotions were you feeling during this earthquake?
Just uneasy. I feel a lot of times, you're in control. You have no control. You just feel very helpless. You don't know what you can do or can't do. You don't know if you're going to have another, what do they call them, aftershock. So at this point, we were just kind of just waiting around, and we didn't know the extent of the damage. We just shook, saw the light pole shaking. All the players ran onto the field that were in the dugout. They ran out to the middle of the field because it was right before the game. So just uneasiness, not knowing what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Was probably the most troubling thing. No one was scared or screaming or, they were just kind of mystified, I guess would be the word.
An aftershock occurred approximately 2.5 minutes after the main shock, which reached 5.2 magnitude. In the week following Loma Prieta, 20 aftershocks magnitude 4.0 or greater were recorded, and 300 of magnitude 2.5 aftershocks were recorded. Thousands of aftershocks were recorded in total. The aftershock zone stretched 25 miles from north of Los Gatos near Highway 17 to south of Watsonville near Highway 101. Okay, number three. What's one thing that really stood out to you during this earthquake?
Well, after we kind of gathered our thoughts, we ended up going, we didn't know if they were going to play the game or anything. And then we walked out to the pavilion right where you enter into and they had monitors. and they were showing, and there was helicopters flying around at that time, and they had aerial shots of the devastation. They showed the place where that bridge over in Oakland had collapsed, and at that point we knew that there was a lot of chaos in the San Francisco Bay Area, and they weren't going to play the game. So we were one of the first people to leave the stadium. It was, you know, a lot of it, you know, you weren't sure at the time what was going on, but once we saw those pictures, we realized that this was a significant event.
This significance is shown when countless amounts of buildings and roads collapsed, leaving San Francisco and Santa Cruz stunned. Even though this event was hard for thousands by causing many deaths and hardships, there was a small upside from this by giving San Francisco a reason to remodel many homes, buildings, and roads. As you said, the highways were falling, right?
Right.
And how were you able to leave?
So we couldn't go across the bridge, and we had to get back to the Central Valley. So we ended up driving all the way to, I guess it would be Gilroy, and then because you couldn't go across any of the bridges, they were all down. So we drove all the way to Gilroy, went over 156, and took the land route back, and then over the Pacheco Pass Boulevard. But the bridges were all down at the time. They were unpassable.
Thank you.
You bet.